Good evening. Everybody say hello to Mr. Chirpy. Second time I've gone to a movie and played the claw machine, and second time I've got Chewy here. I'm still trying to figure out a way I can actually get him to be in the shot, but it's hard when you're in a moving car. You don't want things on dashboards and whatnot. Okay, so I've said this a million times, and I'll say it a million more, probably, because I repeat myself a lot. One of the reasons I love doing these reviews is because even though I don't have a deadline, and I seriously doubt anybody is waiting on pins and needles for when the next time I'm going to post a video, so I'm not working on any deadline, but still, doing these videos makes me kind of feel like, I want to do one once a week, or I try to do one once a week. And because of that, it means that to fulfill that, I have to go see movies that I would have otherwise skipped. And I'm very thankful for that, because even though you get some terrible things in there, I think back, especially this past year, it's the first year I've done drive home reviews the entire year. And when I think about the movies that I've really loved, Logan Lucky, Their Finest, Molly's Game, things like that, Miss Sloane from last year, Going in Style, when I think, Battle of the Sexes, when I think of those films and think, normally I probably would have skipped those, but because I do these, I go and see all these great films. Now, the downside to this is that when we get into a month like January, where the release schedule is notoriously light and, thin, it means you really got to stretch to find a movie to go see sometimes. I was looking at the new releases for this week, and I had my choices between the America Fuck Yeah Chris Hemsworth vehicle, the gritty urban street crime thriller where the question is, who's the real criminal? The cops or the criminals? And not having seen the movie, I can tell you, the people robbing the banks, I always say, are more guilty, but that's just me. Or the country music Nicholas Sparks wannabe. From all of them, you can pretty much guess what's going to happen and what the movie's going to be like from the trailers. I don't think there's any surprise in there. So the question then becomes, how do you pick? And you pick, the way I picked was, which movie starts sooner? And I went with this one. But I'm glad I did. And I'm going to tell you why I'm glad I did. Because I truly believe that we have achieved some kind of record here. 20 days into the year, and I believe I may have found the worst movie of 2018. I know, right? I mean, films are going to have to go a long way. We're going to need another Manchester by the Sea to beat this one. I'm being a little harsh here, because really, I'm sure there are going to be more offensive and more god-awful movies, but Lord oh mercy, is this thing just incompetent. Oh, where to begin with this? So if you don't know, so from the trailers or anything, if you haven't heard of this, so Liam No Talent, which is what we're going to call the main character, Liam No Talent, was Mr. Chirpy didn't even want to hear about it. He fell down. Okay, well, he had to sit through it, so he's had a rough night. Anyway, so Liam No Talent is gonna marry his high school sweetheart Susie Q Blondie, and runs out on her in the middle of the wedding. 8 years later, Liam No Talent is a huge country music star. But lo, he is so depressed and unhappy, and though he has everything in life, there is an emptiness deep inside him. And he has writer's block for his songs, and he can't quite, he can't sing the old songs or write new ones the way he used to. So he hears that his best friend from high school was killed by a drunk driver, so he goes back home to small Podunk town number 32, where everybody knows your name. I mean, the place is just south of Mayberry. All it was missing was, Andy and Opie skipping rocks and whistling. And of course, while he's there, he runs back into Susie Q. McBlondie, and lo and behold, he has a daughter he never knew. And now he rediscovers himself and becomes the man that maybe he always could have been. And that maybe all the answers to his problems weren't out there. They were here in small Podunk Mayberry Jr. So, again, I want to be clear about something here, about a couple things. This movie is not bad because it's predictable. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I say, you go see a movie like this, you pretty much know from the trailer what you're going to get. And that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. This movie is not bad because it's a Nicholas Sparks wannabe. I'm going to go on record here and say something that I know is going to get me, people, questioning my sanity. I don't find anything wrong with Nicholas Sparks' work, at least in terms of the movies. I've never read one of the books. People love to rail on The Notebook. I don't think there was anything wrong with The Notebook. It was a sappy movie. That's what it was. It was the best version of a sappy movie that it could be. What did you fucking want from it? So I'm not angry or disappointed from this movie because it is predictable or follows its formula or it is exactly what you think it's going to be. That is not the problem. The problem is that it is the absolute one of the most poorly executed versions of a standard formula I have ever seen. Where to begin? All right, let's start with the base. Let's start with the acting. The acting in this is atrocious. I call the main character, Liam No Talent, because this guy, I didn't think anybody could outpine Chris Pine. I didn't think anybody could be that bad or worse than Chris Pine. I have been proven wrong this evening, folks, and I'm man enough to admit when I was wrong. Holy shit, he's awful. Just wooden and so generic looking. He looks like that. God, now I can't remember the guy's name. Not James Van Der Beek, but the other guy from Dawson's Creek, the one who was in the Mighty Ducks. It looks like him and Edward Cullen had a baby. So he is awful. His acting physically caused me pain. It physically hurt me. I'm going to be very careful how I word this, because I believe in being a little bit more lenient in certain areas. Last year, one of my big overarching themes was these young actors in complicated roles that did amazing jobs. Well, the little girl in this film, bless her heart, and I'm not trying to pick on the poor child, boy howdy. And here's the thing. She is not a bad actor. I want to stress that. But the writing of her lines, she is one step away from being a kid from a 90s sitcom. That kid who speaks too intelligently, uses words that are just nowhere near what an 8-year-old or a 7-year-old would have. And don't throw me this, well, some children have very big vocabulary, blah, 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 blah. Not like this. This is clearly an adult writing, and they're going, oh, this sounds cute and precocious. Oh, she knows the stats of the fatality rates of convertibles. Oh, ho, 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 ho. And none of it is natural. None of it is cute. And again, I want to stress this. I've seen bad child actors. Believe me. Believe me on that. And I'm not even talking in the movies. So this child is not bad. So I don't want it to feel like I'm picking on this poor kid. But the writing and directing of it is so bad that the kid comes out bad by proxy. Okay? Susie Q. McBlondie is passable. She's passable. But, boy, you want to talk about characters who have no chemistry. She and Liam McNotalent, they're, nothing there, boy. Not a lick of chemistry between them. It's very sad how no. I mean, let me put it to you this way: I saw more chemistry in the Star Wars prequels between Anakin and Padme than I saw in this movie. So take that for what you will. Now I want to be fair. There is actually one good scene in this movie. One good scene. And that's, of course, if you, like I say, you can predict the plot of this. It doesn't take rocket science. So he goes back, he gets involved in Susie Q. McBlondie's life, gets to know, cute, precocious daughter, but something happens and he starts to doubt himself, and, he feels really terrible. And there's this scene where he's, drunk on the couch while his dad, who is the preacher of the town, of course he is bandaging him up, and he's kind of having this speech of, Liam McNotalent is on the bed just going, I'm really sorry, and his dad's saying, I know you are. And so that scene, I don't want to get too much into it, is actually fairly well acted, I feel, in comparison to everything else. So there was a moment in there that made me kind of go, oh, okay, not bad. Not great, but not bad. And that was it, in terms of the acting. Everybody else, it's like they're reading off cue cards, or there's not a genuine emotion or genuine line reading anywhere in here. It's all, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like, for those who don't know, one of the first things you do in a play or in a movie is you do the table read, where you get all the actors to sit around and you just kind of read through the script, and it sounds like all of the actors are just doing the table read. There's no real emotion, there's no real connection to their characters or anybody else's. It's all just flat and mechanically going through the lines. That is what every bit of acting in this movie is like. Just on the more ridiculous moments, and this is why this movie is just so awful, is that there's just some things in it that are just so ridiculous. Character shifts and time beats that make no freaking sense. Or time shifts and character beats is what I should have said. Sorry, it's almost midnight when I'm recording this. Okay, so let's just go through some of my favorites. So Liam McNotalent gets home, back to his hometown, back to just east of Mayberry there, and of course everybody's mad at him because you didn't just walk out on her, you walked out on this whole town. Okay, fair enough. Everybody's pissed at him. I'd be pissed at him too. Then so he's back for one day. Everybody's pissed at him. The next day, his preacher dad gets up, in church and gives the speaking. The good Lord teaches us about forgiveness, and we need to forgive those who have transgressed upon us, and we need to, and that is the only way that we can truly move on. And everybody's like, yay, we forgive you, Liam, yay, hugging him. You know, except for Susie Q. Blondie. She, of course, takes a little bit longer. But everybody else in the house was like, oh, fudge all that. We love you again. So that makes no sense. I guess it's this big running joke, I guess, that Liam McNoTalent can't do anything on his own. He doesn't know how to order things on the internet. And this is a guy who is in his early 20s, meaning that he was a teenager during the time of, you know, Amazon and all that. There's no freaking... This guy is not a time traveler from the 1990s. You know, he would know how to order things off the internet. So he orders things off the internet. Here's the funny thing. So, he has this running joke about how his dad doesn't make good coffee. So during this comical scene when he's talking to his manager about how to order things on the internet, so he wants to order a teddy bear for his daughter, jewelry for Susie Q. Blondie, and a cappuccino machine. You are left to assume that all three happen at the same time, that he orders all three at the same time. The giant teddy bear and the piece of jewelry get there that day. The cappuccino machine takes several weeks to a month. How? How does that work? That made no sense. There's a really funny scene also when, like, he's going, you know, he's taking Susie Q. Blondie on a date, and, you know, she's getting ready, and she opens up the drawer and she pulls out a picture of them from high school. Except it's the same actors, both of whom are in their early to mid 20s, dressed up in a high school. You know, he's dressed up like the quarterback. She's in her cheerleader outfit. You can tell these people are not teenagers. It looks like this is a picture taken during one of their little sexy role plays instead of actually them as kids. It's so awful. Oh, jeez. What else? Of course. This was another part. I was having a hard time not laughing. There were only like 6 or 7 other people in the film with me, and they were taking it very seriously. I had a hard time not laughing. Of course. Liam McNoTalent, of course, when he feels like he's failed his family, he runs away to go back to his concerts, and it's all soulless and whatnot. But then he has another change of heart, and he runs back. You know, they do that whole cliche, and he's out in the rain, banging on Susie Q. Blondie's door, you know, and he steps back into the rain, looks up, and I think this was her name, Jessie! Jesse! And so he's doing his Stella, like, and that's all you can hear. It's just all you can picture is Stella. It was so awful. Oh my God. And I guess that's the other thing is just, and I know again it's formulaic. That's okay. Nothing wrong with formulaic in certain instances, but it's execution. Susie Q. Blondie takes him back like that both times. Both times. I'm sorry. Maybe I am just a by nature bitter human being. I don't doubt that. But I'm sorry, if someone walked out on me at the wedding, I don't give a shit how much charm, supposed charm, they have or whatnot. You ain't getting back in my pants. But guess that ain't the case with Susie Q. Blondie. You know. Oh, I don't know. And again, formulaic. Not a problem. You knew she was going to take him back. But it's just the speed of the turnaround. It happened so fast. Both frickin' times. And I'm sorry. And again, is that... You know, the second time when he comes back and does the Stella scene, it's like... Sorry, for me at least, that would have been shame. You know, fool me once, shame on shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me kind of things. It'd be like, that would be the definite no-brainer. Yeah, this film just... I've seen a lot of bad movies in my life. And since I started doing these reviews, I've seen a lot of bad movies. I've seen movies that have made me just angry. You know, Brad's Status, Manchester by the Sea. I've seen movies that are just, you know, atrocious. I've seen things that are overpraised that shouldn't be. And while I can't honestly look at this movie and say this is worse than any of those or it's any better, this is the movie that in the year, almost 2 years I've been doing these reviews, that was actually physically painful to get through. And again, it's not because of the predictability, it's not because it's a formula, it's not because it's a cheesy romance. Those can be good. You can have a cheesy romance that's still good. Again, I cite The Notebook. I don't think there's anything wrong with The Notebook. It's that everything about this film is, the buzzword for this film is incompetence. It is just so poorly executed on every conceivable level. The sequence of events make no sense. People's quick turnarounds and change in attitude make no frickin' sense. And maybe some halfway decent actors with something resembling screen presence or chemistry with one another might have been able to pull this thing off. Alas, you know, this is the kind of movie I could see someone like, you know, Sandra Bullock pulling off. Movies like this are kind of her bread and butter for a long time, and I could see her pulling it off. She has enough charisma and enough, screen presence and acting talent to do it. I don't know who you'd get to play Liam McNo talent. The only person I can think who's ever really good in these... Well, Tom Hanks was always good in romantic comedies. People forget that. He was always really good. But, anyway, but he wouldn't be good in this one. But, maybe a better actor, maybe better actors could have pulled this off. Reese Witherspoon is another one. Her bread and butter with these films. Reese Witherspoon and Mark Ruffalo could have pulled this off. They could have pulled this off. Maybe. The point is that this is the type of movie that I literally felt like Mike Nelson on The Satellite of Love, and that Dr. Forrester had shot this up to torture me, because it was just a bear to get through. So I don't think you need me to sum up on this and tell you to skip it, because it's not worth your time, it's not worth your money. If you like movies like this, there are thousands upon thousands of better examples of these films to choose from to get your sappy romance on. And again, nothing wrong with that. I have the list of ones I love. I like a good sappy romance. That's why I didn't mind going to it at first. But boy, howdy, was this just not good by any stretch of the imagination. So there you go. So I don't know what my schedule is going to be like. I might do another one of these tomorrow. I might not. As I've kind of said, I'm coming off a 10-day break due to weather from work, and I got to go back to work on Monday. So this 10-day break has been glorious, but because of the weather, I haven't been able to do a lot of these reviews. But it's boy, I can't wait till I actually see a movie in 2018 that's actually good. I mean, it's we're 0 for 3 here, and I don't care what anybody says about The Post. So that's it for this one. So we'll see what happens. Until next time, drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.